It's almost 2028. What futurist thing did you seriously think we'd have by now? A way to regrow teeth? Or some sort of way to restore enamel on teeth, or even add some sort of coating over it to prevent erosion of the enamel? Elevators that allow you to cancel a floor selection. Some newer ones allow you to undo by pressing the button twice. Smarter traffic lights. What do you mean? It's midnight and I am the only person on the road for 12 miles. Of course I need to wait at the light. My dad, who was born in 1950, is severely disappointed we don't have commercially available hoverboards or hovercars by now. He also thinks that hoverboards, the two-wheel balance things, are a disgrace to the name. I have to agree. Edit. Yes, I'm fully aware of why flying cars aren't the best idea. He means hover cars, not flying cars. Cars that hover a few feet off the ground. Their purpose? None. Really. But still pretty frickin' cool. The problem with flying cars is that everyone would have them, as your people can't drive straight forward. Now you want to add up and down to complicate the matter? First time someone flies into your roof, you aren't going to think flying cars is such a good idea. That's why we need self-flying cars. A permanent way to stop balding. Please come soon. I'm 21 and I'm already starting to get a receding hairline. Dad and Uncle both started going bald early and I'd rather not. A printer I can plug in and use without installing driver software. I recently bought a new printer and now I'm convinced that there was only one person who ever knew how to write drivers for a printer, and he died in 2002. I'm old. When I was little in 2020, I thought commercial space tourism would be a thing. It's still only for the billionaires of this world. Greater than when I was little in 2020. Time traveler detected. The above comment will be erased 1 hour ago. Escalators taking us everywhere. I got an escalator engineering degree for nothing. This is bullshit. Fuck bro, you went all in. I will await the escalator utopia. Get your masters to elevate your career. While I wanted hoverboards. I'm pretty impressed. I mean seriously, we have fingerprint scanners in our phones. If someone told me that was a thing when I was 8, I would have shit myself. I thought it only happened in spy movies to get past restricted areas. And now we get pissed off when it takes more than 2 attempts to unlock your phone. Making me type in my 6-digit code is like a personal insult. PIN unlock required after restart. Jetpacks always seem like they're juiced over the horizon. Save. Commercially mass production viable jetpacks. Of course concepts and collector's items exist. And that band sounds like one of those Imagine Dragons yuppies somehow figured out that a distortion pedal is a thing. They promised us jetpacks. Red Foreman, a bigger size limit on emails and better quality Bluetooth technology. Fuck me. I have, what? 10 gigabytes of free storage from Gmail. I can't keep track anymore. It's probably even higher. But I can't fucking attach more than 25 megabytes. Fuck me. It takes less time to download 25 megabytes today than it did to get a plain text message over dial-up. When I started using the internet, surely attachments could be a little bigger. For what it's worth, that's a policy limit, not a technical limit. I don't know if I thought it should be here by now. But I'd like to think we're getting close to universal translators everyone could wear around their neck and just punch in Japanese to German or something and the devices hears your speech and translates it via speaker. Maybe even little robot hands for ASL. Edit. I usually don't edit a top comment like this. But good God people, the hands were a joke. Obviously you go with text. That is all. I was sitting at a bus stop in Finland and tested the Google Translate app out on my phone. It listened to the girl next to me talking and immediately translated what she said into English. It was profoundly embarrassing because I didn't realize it was going to speak it out loud. I wasn't even trying to eavesdrop. I was just curious how the technology worked. Since she understood English, she and all of her friends stopped talking and stared at me. I wanted to throw myself under the bus from embarrassment. Business operations without paper. I work in IT and the amount of things this office prints out is ridiculous. I hate printers. I work in payroll and used to print like hundreds of pages a week. Finally led a project that made us go paperless. All I did was propose instead of printing out pages to write on them. We instead save them as PDF and work on them on Adobe. Turns out it's cheaper than all of the paper, ink we use. And our process is faster because we're not bottlenecked by dying printers. Now we almost never touch it. Limitless paper in a paperless world. IDK, but I'm playing Pokemon Yellow on a smartwatch in the bathroom right now. So I'm all set. Edit. For those asking, it's a Samsung Gear S2 and a regular app from the Samsung App Store. WTF, there's GB emulation on smartwatches now? There's GB emulation on practically everything now. You could probably play it on your fridge if you wanted. Alexa, eat all the cheese. I grew up in the 1960s and I thought we would have been much further along in manned space exploration by now. We haven't gone to Mars yet or even back to the moon since 1972. But I can't complain about the great science returned from unmanned missions, especially the discovery of other solar systems. On the positive side, the internet and the smartphone are way beyond anything I imagined happening in my lifetime. A better form of public transport. We know how to build fast, frequent, reliable public transit. It's just that very few places spend the money to build and operate it properly. New tech can't fix that. Are you from the US by chance? Because public transport in Europe is tight AF. And Asia has some baller-ass train systems from what I hear. I'm from the UK, our trains are delayed because they're late. Faster traveling across continents be faster. Or at least, cheaper. Seems like we're stuck on the same planes from 10 years ago. Would expect the modern ones to be way faster by now. And the current ones we have should be cheaper to reflect that. Something like taking the bullet train versus the regular train. Both should be available at different price points. There was a test program in Oklahoma City of an expanded supersonic flight program. The residents found the sonic booms unbearable. This would require supersonic flight to begin and end over unpopulated areas, which would limit the flight's inefficiency and value. Since plane design for supersonic speeds is not optimal at slower speeds and vice versa. Actually, most of us are flying on airplanes that were designed 30 years ago. A dramatically higher age cap. Not just average lifespan, but the top of the top lifespan. I always thought it'd be cool to see 200-plus-year-old person. As a kid I thought we'd also be able to transfer out consciousness to a computer or robot for storage until a vessel like an android were invented. The singularity is near. A pill you can take so you can eat whatever you want and not get fat. It's called a tapeworm, monsieur. Monsieur, where to purchase? Off your local worm dealer, of course. Who's your worm guy? Creed gave me one, this one time. Free data, or at least much cheaper. Fucking data. The amount of money thighs blood-sucking bastards charge for mobile data. It doesn't cost more to fucking provide the connection or anything, they just change a number in your account of data allowance and that's it. Human-shaped robots. Not necessarily AI, but at least some sort of human-shaped vacuum cleaner that can walk around my house while cleaning and greet me with its robotic voice. I think I am good with Alexa as is. I don't think giving her a body would be wise. Alexa, play Careless Whisper and tell me what you're wearing. Winking face. Khakis. Edit. Holy shit, gold. Thank you. I was half awake when I made this comment last night. You sound hideous. So I actually had an assignment for this in second grade in 1993, which I have the drawing for somewhere. I thought that every car in 2020 would have a microwave in the glove compartment and a fridge in the center console and a fold-out bed in the trunk, and one of those Twizzler dispensers on the ceiling. Because Wayne's World, of course. Edit. This is what I envisioned as a 7-year-old people. Obviously I know what an RV is and what we are technologically capable of at this point. I was the youngest of 5 kids and always got the shaft food-wise, like the worst flavored popsicles. Plain Cheerios, since everyone hogged the good stuff before me. The smallest or least top piece of pizza, so I think I really just wanted a car where I could hoard snacks, lol. Most other kids were talking about robots or flying cars or lightsabers and stuff. A robot maid that cooks, does the laundry, and folds it, and replenishes the fridge. I don't care about those sex androids. They're doing the only task I like to do myself. But a true maid, that would be something worth buying. Yes, Rosie the robot maid from the Jetsons. I am sick of cleaning my damn house. Also, little spaceships as cars. The Jetsons gave me some high expectations. As I was growing up, the internet made everyone so much smarter. Checking facts was easier than ever. Being informed about what went on in the world became possible for almost everyone here. I expected that by this time, we would be mostly rid of propaganda, lies and elections, and outright collective dumbness. Instead, we live in the area of fake news, and politicians and news channels in a lot of countries just seem to lie more than ever. I was born in '80, and my view of growing up in the '90s was that everyone was going to be prosperous. Technology is going to advance rapidly, and we'd end up in a Star Trek-like altruistic society. One of those things happened. iPhones are pretty cool, I guess. We do live in a society. I'd have expected us to have dumped fossil fuels by now, even for nuclear as a stopgap. I think the switch to nuclear was always the plan, and would have yielded abundant cheap energy with controllable environmental impact, but it faced too much opposition and scaremongering to really reach the penetration it should have reached. Fusion being 20 years away for the past 50 years probably hasn't helped. Why go through the massive expense of a nuclear fission plant with its inherent risks when we're so close to having fusion? Electric cars requiring zero gas could have been the norm a couple decades ago. GM made a fully electric car back in the '90s, but it never made it to market. Either that, or literally no one bought it, because gas was super cheap, so nobody really cared. Cure for tinnitus. PL sad face. Edit. Misread the question, but my comment still stands. I have had tinnitus too, but there is therapy for it. Tinnitus retraining therapy. TRT. The gist of it is that the more you focus on it, get frustrated by it, the worse it gets, because then your brain perceives tinnitus as a danger and focuses more on it. Which is good if tinnitus were a tiger. But it isn't, and the more your brain focuses on it, the louder it gets. So you get in a downward spiral where the ringing becomes louder. You get more frustrated by it, and as a result it becomes even worse. But the good news is that this is also the solution, because the loudness of the tinnitus depends on your brain's focus on it. So if you lessen your brain's focus on the sound, the tinnitus will become less and less loud, and eventually you won't hear it anymore. And if you do hear it, you no longer care, because it's a non-issue. So how do you reach that point? If it's really loud, you can get noise generators in your ears, or only at night, because at night it's often worse. It's like a candle. You won't notice the light of a candle in broad sunlight, but when it's dark the candle gives out a lot of light. With the noise you can still hear the tinnitus, but it will be easier to deal with, because it's not the only sound in the room, monsieur, anyway. You have to try and become neutral towards the sound. That way it will lessen. Eventually, you will even embrace it. For me, the tinnitus has become a comfortable sound, whereas in the beginning it was hell. But you don't even have to get there. Just becoming neutral towards it and no longer perceiving it as a danger. This includes checking whether it's gone, listening for it every morning. Don't do that. We'll make it less loud and we'll make it easier to deal with until it eventually stops being a problem, monsieur. I haven't thought about tinnitus for a year until I read your post. It just stops being an issue. I never knew I had tinnitus until I read comments saying that this ringing wasn't normal. And now I'm aware of it. For me, that ringing was what silence sounded, and I was totally fine with it. But now it's hard to not get too focused on it. So the fact that it disappears when you don't focus on it is true. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.